Hi, and welcome to the Lewiston Tribune Podcast. This is episode number 39. I'm Matt Baney, managing editor of the Tribune, and today I have the Singh family with me. That's Gurvinder, Navtaj, and Navdeep. Folks, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks for having us.
And we are going to talk about Navtaj. Navtaj, you're still 14 now, right?
Navtaj.
I'm sorry, Navtaj. Navtaj, you're still 14, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And Navtaj, you may recognize him as the region's spelling bee champ, reigning spelling bee champ for the last 4 years. We're going to talk about Navtaj's spelling bee exploits. Before we do, just a reminder that the Tribune Podcast is available on our website, on our YouTube page, and at all the podcast apps. So be sure to subscribe, and we have a new episode every week. Navtaj recently went to Washington, D.C. to the Scripps National Spelling Bee for the fourth consecutive year, his final year of eligibility. And anyway, he's clearly been the best speller in the region during that time. And Navtaj, can you tell us when did you first seem to develop an aptitude for being a good speller?
Uh, well, even when I was in kindergarten, even then I was a better English than my classmates. So you could say there, but I'd like to say it's in the fifth grade when I won my school spelling bee.
And Navtaj's parents are with us. Folks, when did you notice, when did you see an aptitude that he had for spelling?
Well, when he was 3, he started reading, and we were surprised. Wow, he's reading books. He even saw his dad reading manuals. He's like, "Can I read that?" And I'm like, "Wow." He really likes to read everything. And then when we go to stores, he was like, "Wow, how old is he?" And we're like, "He's 3. He knows how to read." So he loved reading since he was 3, and he learned fast.
I think it started when all of my family members, my wife has been taking kids to the library, our public library. There's a stack of books all the time in our house. The kids have been going to public libraries since they're, very little, and they've been reading. I think the reading part is what probably helped the most. Both of my kids, they literally scan the books. It's pretty amazing to see them developing this habit early on and taking the language seriously.
And Gurvinder and Navdeep, did you two have a aptitude for spelling when you were younger?
A little bit. I mean, my school only had like a school bee, but that was it. Nothing as big as Scripps. So, yeah, I mean, I wasn't that as good as the other stars, but I kind of made it midway or even above midway. But that was okay. I still had fun trying.
I was not as good as Navtaj for sure. I was okay. Yeah.
Well, Navtaj, what would you say? What is it that makes you a good speller? Is it memorization or the linguistic part of it?
I actually don't really think it's either of those. I think I just have a natural general skill for English, which probably showed up when I started to read when I was 2 or 3 years old.
Yeah, it just it came somewhat natural, but obviously you worked really hard at it. And how does one go about practicing for a spelling bee? There's a lot of words out there. You can't memorize them all. How do you become a good? How do you study to be a good speller?
Uh, well, I would study language stems and rules, and what that would do is it would take. So if you know that the word is from Latin, for example, you could tell that you could apply a certain subset of rules or stems to that, and then by doing that, you could easily be able to tell how to spell it.
Yeah. And parents, when did you guys help a lot with his studying, or did he kind of do that independently?
He initially, in the very first competition for the school, I helped testing him, but he prepared for the most part by himself. And even after that, majority of the effort has been on Navtaj's part. We have played very small role, just supporting here and there, testing him where he wanted us to test, and really just supporting wherever he needed us and being with him wherever he needed to go, and support, just being a parent. But all the effort really was on his part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Navtaj, you did it so long, of course, and you'd do the school spelling bee, and then you'd get to the regional spelling bee in Lewiston, and then go to the nationals. Were you always nervous during those competitions, or did you get to a level of confidence where there weren't any nerves?
Well, kind of. So for the regional bees, I definitely got a little more accustomed to that feeling of being on stage, and I got a little less nervous, especially this year. But on national stage, I never really got accustomed to that feeling, and I was always extremely nervous, especially like before the well, you're just like rushing to prepare that final word that may show up in in the competition.
Yeah, what's it like standing on the national stage? Is it it's a larger venue, of course, and can you describe what it's like being up there?
Uh, it's definitely some people might not feel this way, but for me, it's definitely very frightening because uh well, at least yeah, adrenaline is pumping through your body, and yeah, you can feel your heart being extremely quickly, and so I just try to focus on the word and the judges to calm myself down.
It's just a much bigger stage, right?
Yeah.
It's a national stage. It's a grand venue, and the level of organization that the organization that organizes all this effort is tremendous. You can feel it's a well organized effort. It's a big competition. It's an international competition. There are cameras, there are lights, there are judges, there is a panel of people sitting in front of you, there is a pronouncer. So it is a lot going on. So it could be pretty hard for kids who are not accustomed to that level of exposure, right?
It's as Navtaj is describing that, how he feels that adrenaline. Um, that might be helpful if he were running the 100 meters, or in a wrestling match. But when it comes to spelling, you probably don't want adrenaline. You want to be calm and cool. So you probably did kind of have to try to suppress that, Navtaj, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So one thing that I think probably people noticed in following you, um, when you got a word, you usually asked most of the questions you can about the word. Did you ask them all? Would you say the language of origin, the definition, the use in a sentence? Did you always ask all those questions?
Yeah, I pretty much asked every single question I could every single time.
And I always got the sense, I'd think to myself, I bet you Navtaj knows how to spell this word without asking all those. What was the strategy there? Why did you ask all those questions?
Uh, well, sometimes two words may sound very similar, but you don't know for sure which one it is until you get that information. And so, yeah, I just want to be 100% sure that I actually do know it before I actually try to spell it.
And you never got too eager to spell it. I'd almost feel like as you're standing there, uh, you didn't have any party that was like, I know how to spell this. I don't need all the, or were you able? How was it you were patient enough to go through all of those questions before spelling it?
I I had to constantly be reminding myself that make sure that I actually know the word before I try to spell it, so that I wouldn't get the word wrong by rushing through it, even if I did know it.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, what was it like to go to Washington D.C. the last 4 years? The first time you guys went, Navtaj was a fifth grader, and I had you folks been to Washington D.C. before?
No, not until he started competing, going there as a
Okay.
constant. So, yeah, first time.
Uh, is there time when you make those trips? Is there time to do other things?
Yes, towards the end, because first few days we wanted to focus on studying and being prepared for the competition, and then the last couple of days you have the option to go around and look around. So I think that's the best way to do it if you go there for the competition.
Mhm.
And there are a lot of events,
Yeah.
spelling bee.
Mhm.
They really they try to make all the participants as comfortable as possible and as fun as possible, right? So they have planned a lot of other events that kids of his age or even younger or older may really enjoy. So it's a pretty busy schedule. Everything is planned and fun, honestly. There's a lot of learning opportunity too. I think the big part is the connections that these students and kids are making with their other fellow participants. I think that's a huge part of this, and they encourage that, right? The events they organize, they want to be like more engaging, more building connections, because no, these connections are lifelong, not just. And some of these kids gonna stay in touch with each other. They have built those connections. Yeah, so it's pretty organized. Towards the end, as my wife said, there is time where we go for sightseeing and do whatever you want to do, because there is that 1 or 2 days before you head home.
Mm-hmm. And Navtaj, he's probably in a rare class. There probably aren't too many kids that are there 4 consecutive years, right?
Uh, yeah, I think I'm very lucky to have the opportunity to go this far for this many years.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a favorite aspect of the trip to Washington D.C.? What a sightseeing thing or something to do with the spelling bee? What was your favorite part of it?
Uh, my favorite part was meeting all of the different like spellers and just finding people who share common interests with you and doing things like just having a good conversation with them.
Yeah, I'm sure all bright kids. I imagine some of them will probably meet up at Ivy League schools in a couple years, things like that. Did you make did you make plans to meet any of them in college somewhere?
Could you repeat that?
Or are you planning to meet any of your spelling bee friends at a college somewhere? Do you have a university in mind? I know you're 14 years old, so you don't have to decide now. But do you think you'll encounter any of those spelling bee buddies later in life?
I definitely don't know if it'll be planned, but I definitely do believe that I would meet some other people who participated in the spelling bee at high performing schools if I manage to make it into one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there, Navtaj, is there, will you miss doing spelling bees? I'm sure you enjoyed it, but of course, there's part of it might be a bit of a grind. What do you think? Are your spelling bee era is kind of over now? Are you gonna miss it?
I definitely do think I'm gonna miss it quite a lot, as it's really a once in a lifetime thing. So once you're done with it, you can't really experience it the same way again. Obviously, I'm gonna try to help out with the regional beat in Lewiston next year, but it's just not the same as competing up on that big stage.
I noticed, yeah, there seemed to be pretty good camaraderie among the spellers in Lewiston as well at the regional spelling bee. Um, you, Navtaj, you probably enjoyed seeing what some of the other kids were able to do at that. There looked like there's some pretty good up and comers coming up in the area, spelling wise, right?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think that both both people who got second and third definitely could have done really definitely would have done a lot better, and I think that they could do really well at the national spelling bee if they make it there.
Mm-hmm. You know, the nationals are probably so hard. Your best showing, you tied for 13th overall. Is that right?
I think I tied for 12th, but I could be wrong
Well,
on.
okay, okay. Um, I don't know. This might be hard to answer. Were you satisfied with how you did at those national spelling bees, or do you have some regrets about how you did?
Uh, I'm definitely really happy with my 12th place performance two years back, but I definitely do wish that I had managed to perform better this year. So, even though I had prepared my hardest this year, sometimes things just happen and it things just don't go the way they should.
Well, it's there's no margin for error. You just one word trips you up and that's it. So yeah, it's not easy at all, obviously. And Gurvinder and Navdeep, as you're sitting in the audience watching him, what are your nerves like? Did you guys get used to it? Were you able to be calm, or were you always nervous when he was up there?
Um, I think the first year a little bit, but then as we keep going to back and forth, it's like, okay, and we know how to, you know, watch and observe, not be as nervous. I mean, we will be a little bit, but not as much as the first time, because you want the best for your child, you want them to do well and be happy. So you're kind of thinking, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I was the most nervous one probably. Yeah, I think it's no matter all 4 years, whether it's regional or national, uh, I was very nervous, honestly. We were always like praying, make sure he does he does well, right? Just like typical things that other parents may also do. And I could see, all the other parents nearby us. I could see their emotions and how they're holding their hands together when their kid is up on the stage. I think it's a common human emotion. As much as we like all kids to do well, but when your kid is up on the stage, there is that nervousness that's actually there. I couldn't find a way to not be there.
Right. Did you ever, when he's up on the stage, could you ever tell if, oh, he's not sure about this one? Was there any sort of uh, tell that Navtaj would have that you'd say, oh, this one could be trouble?
I know Navtaj said before that he was very nervous on the stage. My observation was that he was quite relaxed. So it's interesting. He would be smiling, he's moving around, he's kind of doing his own thing in some cases, and not doesn't come across he was nervous. But I could tell sometimes when he actually know the word and he's still doing his due diligence in asking the questions. I could already tell that he knows the word. And I could also tell that, yeah, I think this one I could tell, look at his face and know he may not know this. But he surprised me many times, um, especially with very difficult words, he will do really well. He will break it down, he will answer it. But sometimes even on the easier words, he'll get stumped. So it's very up in the air, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say for sure if he will be able to spell or not.
Yeah. Navtaj, do you have a favorite memory from a spelling bee? Anything stick out in your mind?
Uh, Something that immediately comes to mind is my first year, I think. I got the word Tokia, and by breaking it down, as my dad said, I managed to spell it, even though it's not a really obvious spelling.
And did you have, were there ever words or sort of kinds of words like language of origin kind of words or any words in particular that were stumpers for you, ones that you always kind of had trouble with?
Uh, well, I definitely had a lot of trouble with Irish Gaelic words, and that's because to me there was no real pattern to them at all. To me, it just felt like complete like gibberish almost.
Right. Did you when you get these words, these hard words, do you a lot of times you must not know what they mean, right? They must be words that you've never heard of. Or does that come up a lot where it's a word I don't know what that word is. Does that happen a lot when you're in the spelling bee?
Yeah, I don't really remember the definitions of most of the words that I study. But like once they say the definition, then it might come back to me. Like then I'll actually manage to remember it.
Hmm. Did you, when you studied, did you really study the rules for the languages of origin? Did that was that a big part of the study? Like, okay, I know in Latin words will do this. I know in French words will do that. Was that a big piece of the studying?
That was definitely a decently sized piece of my studying. Yeah, and then I would also just practice a lot of words.
Hmm. Do you Navtaj, do you have any tips for kids that are interested in doing the spelling bee? How do you become a good speller? And uh, I might need some help too. I could be a better speller.
Uh, yeah. So I definitely would just recommend first of all just like trying to memorize every word in the dictionary. It's not possible. No one can do it. So what I think people should do is memorize certain language patterns and stems, and I think that will get you a lot further in a short amount of time since they can be applied in a lot more places.
Hmm. Yeah, good advice. Good advice. Okay, who's the best speller in the family? Do you guys ever say to him, "Hey, Navtaj, I'm writing a letter. How do I spell this word?"
Yeah, he does.
I often ask
Yeah.
him, yeah. And probably the next best one is my daughter.
Yeah.
She was also in regional spelling bee. Um, and
Yeah, when she was in third grade. Yeah.
Well, that's great. It really is a good skill to have, and I got to say, I think a lot of us have become spoiled by spell check. It's pretty easy to just kind of, oh, that's about right, and then just let spell check fix it for you. So it's handy to have a human spell check around like Navtaj to give you a hand once in a while.
Yeah, especially with all the electronics that we have around us, uh, we don't get to exercise our memory as much as we used to, right? I was glad that he had the opportunity to do it, or he had to do it as he's going through this exercise, and being able to recollect that what you had learned. So yeah, there is definitely, it's more than just learning spelling. It's the habit you build, right? Hey, I'm going to practice 2 hours today, and you stick with that plan. So there are other aspects that can be applied, not just in spelling, but your life in general, right? That kids learn as they go through this. So, Navtaj and I were talking this, and Navtaj was saying, I'm going to talk to my principal or school and say, hey, how could we encourage more kids to participate in this? Or how could he help? Lewiston Tribune, for example, has been our sponsor for 4 years, and we are so thankful for that sponsorship and the support we received. It was great to go to Regional Spelling Bee and receive that welcome, and people were very friendly, right? So we feel like we need to give back, honestly. And if Navtaj can be any small part of any of the future regional competitions, help out in any small way, he would love to do that. We feel pretty supported, very blessed overall. And thank you guys for doing that for us.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, you bet. And it's like I say, it's been fun to watch him, and it's a matter of pride for folks around here to see Navtaj on the big stage, and us here at the Tribune. It's really cool to see it. His placards say Lewiston Tribune at the bottom. That's I noticed too that in several it would incorrectly state that Navtaj was from Lewiston. Of course, he's from Pullman, but we we'll claim you, Navtaj. So it's it's been a lot of fun. Now the spelling bee era, it's good to hear you guys are going to stick with it though in whatever way you can and help out. But the spelling bee competition era is over now for you folks, and are you going to miss it a lot? There's other things to get to, of course, but are you going to miss the spelling bee game?
Yeah, definitely quite a bit.
Yeah, we were a little bit.
There is a missing part, but there is a part that he does need to move on and do other things, right? And I know he plans to do so. So it's a mixed feelings, right? So he has an opportunity to do so, and he has done it, but now it's time for him to go do something different.
Yeah.
So it's mixed feelings, basically.
Yeah. Well, hey, folks, thank you very much for joining us. It was nice to chat with you guys, and congratulations on Navtaj's spelling bee career. It's been fun for us to cover it, and thanks a lot for the chat today.
Yeah,
thank you, Matt. Thank you so much.
You bet. And thank you for joining the Lewiston Tribune Podcast this week. We'll be back again next week with another new episode. And until then, have a great day. Bye-bye.